before we get noisy. Pre-flight is complete, no passengers. We checked the fuel, we tipped it off, tipped the top, or top the tips, however you want to call it. Okay, so we will start engines at 1936. Okay, so master on, magnetos, mixture X, props full, throttle as is, parking brake set. There you go. Headset. There you go. And this one goes here. So let us start with the right one, which is the one that has been giving me less trouble recently. On this one, it's been a while since I last flew this guy. So props primer on the right, started on the right. Not working. I don't know why. I guess we'll have to use outside air. Let's start with the left one. We'll crank the left. Good. And we'll go here. Oh crap. Where's the earplug? Here it is.
Terrain system test okay.
Ooh, too noisy. There we go. Check. Change of glasses. I'm gonna need this for a while. Much better. Fuel remaining 88. We got 100 gallons today.
Information Zulu, time 2353 Zulu. Wind 120 at 14, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 31, dew point 13, altimeter 29er86. ILS runway 14 in use. Advise on initial contact, you have ATIS information Zulu. McAllen Tower information Zulu, time 2353 Zulu. Wind 120 at 14, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 31, dew point 13, altimeter 29er86. ILS runway 14 in use. Advise on initial contact, you have ATIS information Zulu. McAllen Tower information Zulu, time 2353 Zulu. Wind 120 at 14, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 31, dew point 13, altimeter 29er86. ILS runway 14 in use. Advise on initial contact, you have ATIS information Zulu. McAllen Tower information Zulu, time 2353 Zulu. Wind 120 at 14, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 31, dew point 13, altimeter 29er86. ILS runway 14 in use. Advise on initial contact, you have ATIS information Zulu. McAllen
It is hot in here.
Zulu, time 235.
Oh, shut up. McAllen ground, November, I'm sorry, X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet.
X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, McAllen ground. You're to the Mike Alpha November airport as filed. Maintain 8,000, departure frequency 124.5, squawk 2421.
Oscar Bravo Juliet, cleared to Mike Alpha November as filed, 8012, 124.5 and squawk 2421.
X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, read back correct, advisory taxi with Zulu.
We have Zulu ready to taxi McCready, Oscar Bravo Juliet.
X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, runway 14, taxi via runway 18 Delta and Alpha.
18 Delta and Alpha to 14, Oscar Bravo Juliet. Clear on the left, clear on the right. Too hot in here, I'm gonna open this. For some reason the blower is not working today, even though the breaker's in. So normally I do Spanish flights and US and I just speak English whenever I need to. But today I just felt like it, so I'm just gonna go English all the way. Even comes in Mexico, so this is pretty much the most regular flight in northern Mexico. In Monterrey, Saltillo, Torreon, all of those places. And usually it's McAllen or Brownsville. That's the two go-to options, depending if they want to go to the beach or not. Personally, I prefer Brownsville. There's better things to do. And McAllen's kind of like all cramped up, all tidy up and stuff. But still, it's kind of like the old school. One 8, Delta, then Alpha, Oscar Bravo Juliet. Okay, checklist on this trip. Oh, here it is. There had another one in the back. This checklist is kind of Spartan, so I use my memory checklist from the 414 days. This baby is a 340 with the Ram 7, so it's basically a 414 with 1,000 gross weight less. So technically these engines could pull 7,100 pounds. So this is just under 65. This is probably around 63 or 64. I'm not sure of the number on this one. Yet I do know these engines on the 414A, they pull up to 7,100. So this guy's got some cojones, and lots of them. The only issue here, it's being a twin, you have to be careful with it because you lose one plus the tip tanks. And you are going for a ride, so always stay. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to be flying below blue line, except on landings, of course. But anyway, so we're doing the route on the way out. It's Reynosa, Victor 13, which takes us close to the border. Then Camuy, which is affects about 40 miles to the northwest of Reynosa. And then down to Monterrey because that's the airway. Since I'm flying Victors on a piston, they don't give us the RNAV arrivals. They are mostly for the jets, which we always get on the Hawker, but not on this one. And if I am not mistaken, they either give us vectors or they make us check the VOR and then do the full approach with the DME arc, old school. By the way, if you're ever interested in doing like old school procedures, DME arcs, procedure turns, stuff like that, Mexico is...
You're wanting to come back around for another one?
Mexico is definitely the place for you. At least try it on the sim.
Okay, 152, roger, execute climb out and contact by departure.
We'll call departure now. So this one, the squawks I know out of this one, the tachometer on the right side, it works on and off. So one flight it does, one flight it doesn't. The blower is not working for some reason, and the autopilot is iffy, because if you engage it, it starts kind of like trying to overcompensate, and you end up dancing Thriller, kind of like, and your damper is not helping, so I just shut it off and go it out by hand. So nose wheel centered, parking brake set. Now flight controls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clear and correct, mixture rich, props full, throttle idle, flaps up, gear down, pumps on low. So we test for our max, which is 1800 on the Ram Continentals. Remember, this is a Ram 7. 18. So we cut the left sides. Both work, correct. We cut the right side. Correct. Props on the left side. Goes down, goes up. We're good. On the right side. This one goes up. We feel the prop. Now we check for oil pressures. On the left side, we drop the oil pressure. We drop it on the right. We drop the oil pressure. Volts, amps, we're good. Power it back to 1,000 RPM. And even though you know it by memory, you do the checklist. So before takeoff, engine run up, throttles, alternator we already checked, vacuum system we don't need one because we got our AHARS, magnetos check, propellers check, engine instruments, throttles, fuel quantity we're filling the tops. The tip tanks are full, which are the mains on this one. Fuel selectors, scow flaps are open. Trim tab set for takeoff. Synchro phaser off, we don't need it. Flight instruments, avionics set, lights as required.
Oscar Bravo Juliet, McAllen Tower, you have it ready?
In a minute, Oscar Bravo Juliet.
Extra Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, contact tower 118.5.
18.5 ready, Oscar Bravo Juliet. So, when I say unshaded panel, we are clear. Auxiliary fuel pumps are in low. Flight controls check, ice protection, seat belts, we are ready. McAllen Tower, X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, ready for takeoff, 1-4.
Extra Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, McAllen Tower, turn right, direct Reynosa. Maintain 8,000, runway 14, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 14, 8,000, direct Reynosa, Oscar Bravo Juliet. So it's 46 on my watch, so 46. Strobes, all the lights on. Okay, if anything happens below blue line, power to idle, brakes to maximum, maintain directional control. If anything happens after blue line is, if we have enough runway, we put it down. If not, positive rate, gear up, hands on the props, we identify, and then we feather it, because these babies will turn it. That's a flight safety procedure. You can do the standard procedure if you want to, but since everything's already full forward, that's the way they taught me in flight safety for the 414, so that's the way I do it. Okay, so we're ready. Now we're starting to get some air here. We got 25, we got both Mercedes green arcs, we can get out of here. Okay, blue line, we can go now. Positive rate, we still got enough runway. Not anymore, gear up, hands on the props. Okay, we got a problem here. By any chance, I feather it. I may want to go to this field if this thing doesn't stay up. If not, just head around and land back on 1-4. So we got the blue arc, gear up. Taxi lights and landing lights go back up, and I'll let you know in a minute why. So we got 400 feet. Now, flaps are up. Right turn, direct Reynosa. Don't touch anything until you get to 1,000 feet. And I'll explain that in a minute. Gee, I sure hope this thing is recording properly. But there's only one way we'll find out, and that'll be in about 2 hours. So, something's vibrating here, but wasn't vibrating that way in the morning. 1,000 feet. Now we throw the power back. Green arc, 35.
Extra Bravo, Oscar Bravo Juliet, contact Monterey 124.5. Have a good one.
24.5, Oscar Bravo Juliet. Good night. Monterrey, buenas noches. Extra Bravo, Oscar Bravo Julieta, saliendo de McAllen, directo Reynosa, 1600 para 8000.
Oscar Bravo Juliet, contacto radar, atiendan para 8000, 2982.
2982 y 8000, Oscar Bravo Julieta. ¿Alguna posibilidad nos autorice directo a Camoy, caballero?
¿Tienen condiciones visuales?
Afirmativo.
En condiciones visuales consigan Camoy, por Ipsis.
¿Puede repetir el fijo, Oscar Bravo Julieta?
A Ipsis, directo 6.
Directo Ipsis, Oscar Bravo Julieta. Oh, sorry, I said I was going to do this in English, but anyway. So after takeoff, we were cleared, so it's Kamui. Now we're gonna add the fix ITPIS, which is procedure arrival.
088, gracias, contacto radar.
ITPIS 1 Charlie, load, so we go direct ITPIS, which is the RNAV arrival, which is not usual for the Pistons, but anyway. So I'm sorry about that. So we were arguing about, could I get her direct to Kamui? He said yes, but he said ITPIS first, so okay, I'll just go ITPIS, I don't mind. So after takeoff, we got landing gear, best angle, climb, power, mixture, skull flap, and pressurization. We don't need that much, so I'm gonna just leave it like that. So we got,
Prepare 243.
let us use this thing.
Contact Mexico 24.
Hope it improves on the, check this out. We're doing 140 on the climb with almost, that's 1,500 feet a minute on 135 knots on the 340. Again, this thing's got some balls. So now I'm going to start leaning it just a bit. Okay. Heading. Put this thing here. Put it on nav. Again, I'm not using the autopilot. It's iffy on this thing, but I don't mind. So we got, right now it leveled out. We're at 1,000 feet a minute almost. So you can see it over there. There you go. And I'm going to use this myself.
629 Bravo Tango, radar contact, maintain 410, clear direct Papa November Golf.
Okay, the reason I normally wait 1,000 feet for the props and the power to reduce after takeoff is because about 70%, I've read this somewhere, I don't know where, 70% of all the engine failures occur when you do a power change to the engine. So once the power is set, just let it be. If it fails, it fails. Be ready for it. Dan Greider's got this great AQP, I think it's called, where he trains you for scenarios. So I was taught that on takeoff roll, I'm going to lose one, I'm going to lose one, I'm going to lose one. Even though you don't want to lose one, but you're ready. So if anything happens, just be prepared to immediately identify, verify, and feather it. On singles, well, if you lose it, push it down. Don't pull it, don't get surprised and start pulling it, just push it. Keep your speed up, okay? Okay, so winds are a little bit more from the left, so I'm correcting. So we got 26, 29, we're good on the temperatures. We're good. Next frequency is going to be 1975, the usual at Monterrey. Monterrey, for those of you who don't know it, Monterrey is the third most populated city in Mexico, but it's the second largest by area. And it's pretty much the industrial capital. About most of the big companies have their headquarters there. And we're about 100 miles from the U.S. As a matter of fact, McAllen to Monterrey is 110 miles. So there's kind of like this fight between regular Mexico and the rest of us. Well, I'm from Monterrey. I was born there, but I was raised in San Antonio. So half of me is San Antonio. Go Spurs, go. Anyway, there's this fight because the rest of Mexico thinks that we're not Mexican enough, and the people in Monterrey think that the rest of Mexico is not like productive enough. So, but that's another story. Maybe someday we'll talk about it. So right now we're looking good. Green arcs. The props, this is missing, but we're at 25 and you can hear them. Get back on it. We got the temperatures good, 26, 27, we're good. Temperatures, we're good. Fuel, we're good. That's the thing with pistons, you have to keep an eye out on them constantly. Once I started flying turbines, it's kind of like just turn it on. Once it's on, you forget about it. I mean, it's just keep an eye on it, but less of the time we do on these ones. 65 for 8,000. We're still climbing. So 14.7 for Monterrey VOR. 6,800. Climbing
Víctor Golf Lima, contacte México 26-6, vení.
$7,000 for $8,000. Oscar Bravo Juliet. Awesome. Here's the other thing. I know almost by memory, but it was like 5 years flying 414 Lima Lima, which was my former job. I still have a good relationship with them, and they call me to pinch hit every now and then. The pilot flying that is a friend of mine. But it's pretty much these planes, all the Cessna twins, even if when they have Ram 7s, it's kind of like, I know how to treat them. So the numbers for that one, for this particular, on the altitude we're going, which is 8,000, we're going to leave it at 2930, 23, and it should be around 18. We're not going to go max temperature. I always go rich of peak. Don't get started with that debate. I don't know what the mess is, but I just go reach of peak. Okay, 200 feet to go to level. So we're doing this no autopilot. We're still doing it hand flying it. Leveling 8,000.
Dieron la 31138, contacto radar, vuelen a retos, espere retos 1 alto.
There we go. Okay, so we let it run just to gain some speed, and then so most of the time I fly the Hawker. Actually, I've flown it. I mean, that's the one that pays for my bills. But I've got 1,200 hours on 414s, 340s, 421. So I get a lot of calls from people in the Valley and Monterrey and all this zone to fly these types of things, and I do it for fun. I mean, I just love flying. I don't care if it's a turbine. I do have respects on these, on pistons, so you got to be careful with them. But it's not like, yay, just go. No, I mean, some flights I don't catch, especially the ones that may get in a scheduling conflict. But apart from that, why not? Okay, so reducing power to 29, 29 and a half.
Ahora 616, contacto radar, haciendo 373.
Cow flaps go up.
En la 6158, contacto radar. Contacto radar.
So I'm hand syncing it. Not working, that's the other way. There we go, so we start leaning it.
Volaris 477, Hacienda 340, pendiente identificación radar.
And tomorrow I fly this again to San Antonio, so my home away from home. Actually, no, I flew there. That's where I studied. I went to this flight school called Wright Flyers, but it went belly up just before I took my commercial check ride. So I had to change schools, and I stayed in San Antonio. I went to Sky Safety, which is like a family-run school, Leslie's awesome, by the way. Shout out to her. She helped me out tremendously to finish, and lived there for 5 years, got married there. So I love San Antonio. I'll get there eventually once I get all the experience I need here in Mexico. We'll just go. Okay, so we got 29, we got 23, under 20, we got 18 and a half, somewhere around there. I'm gonna lean this a little bit more. Temperatures, we're good. Correct. Fuel, we're good. I'm gonna turn the lights on now, because I will need them shortly. Now it's still dark enough for the for this thing. No, I'm just gonna hide it then. There. I think that we're dark. We're light enough so we can. But change shades again. So we got 17, 29, 23, 1500 on the fuel, on the turbos. Okay, we got temperatures, we're good. Pressures, we're good. So we check it out here. So temperature outside is 14, so ESA plus 12. Okay, 10,000 feet. Whoa, what was that? Left alternator. If it does it again, I'll keep an eye on that. So 10,000 feet, 30 inches with 23, 17 gallons per hour, a little bit reacher, and 1650 max. So we're good. Almost 100 feet down, so back up. Let's get the ATIS for Monterrey, which is 2755.
Automatic information line. To time 0000 of Universal Time Coordinated. Arrival aircraft expect. ILS.
No, that's not the notebook, it's this one here.
Wind from 100 degrees, 16 knots. Visibility 12 miles. Non-significant clouds. Temperature 33. 2.06.
No, it's still too weak to make it anything out of it. I'll call it once we get it pissed, or we get called over to approach. So I'm gonna clean these. I'm gonna store these. Let's go back here. Gonna clean these up. This is a trick I learned from my dad. He was a pilot as well. He flew Hawkers. Flew in the same Part 135 company, or the equivalent of, for 35 years. And he gave me this tip once. When I was in flight school, he would help me out. He was no CFI, but he had he just knew how to teach. His methods weren't always the best, or well, the most understandable at first, but once you got it, it clicked. And he always said, the 5 rules for flying IFR. Number 1, trim the plane. Number 2, trim the plane. Number 3, trim the plane. Number 4, trim the plane. Number 5, and just in case I forgot, trim the plane. Why? So you can just pretty much leave it like as is, even without autopilot, and you can do something else and keep an eye on it still, but it won't go all over the place. So if you have it properly trimmed, the plane flies itself. And there you go. So that's the way I do it. That's the way they taught me. That's the way whenever I fly with someone, especially youngsters, I always get calls for low pilots asking me, can I hop in and get some experience? And I said, sure. I always do that. I always try to help out. Someone once did to me. So what's the name of that movie? Pay It Forward. It's the same thing. Actually, as a funny note, one of the kids I did that to was my boss's son. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was his son. Well, I suspected, but it just came natural to me. You want to help flight time? Sure, hop in. And my boss, Rolando, he appreciated it. And among other things, just one day he called me, would you be interested in hopping, coming over to fly with me? And I said yes, and it's been, what, 4 years now? So Part of growing in aviation.
Para 4000, 2986.
Okay, just in case I forgot. Remember, always ask yourself, what am I missing? What am I missing? So in this case, I feel I missed my cruise checklist, so power, mixture, skull flap, pressurization. We're at 8,000, we don't really need the pressurization. The cockpit is at 4, so.
Sale 7154, desciendan para 2.
So, gee, I don't know. I could talk hours and hours on these babies, but I got started in aviation back when I was toddler, actually. When I was born, my dad was an ATC guy. He was a controller first, alternator out, so we lost the alternator. Okay, and it comes back on. I have a feeling that's a wiring issue. Let's see on the right side. Okay, we did lose it, so left alternator. No difference. Right on. It goes back out, so we got an alternator failure here. Back on and back out. So yeah, no. Do we have a breaker? Okay, I'm just gonna go without it. Cabin lights go off. We don't need those right now. And I'm a shot, strobe nav landing. I'm a shot anti-collision and avionics, TX anti-collision. I'm gonna leave pretty much as is. There's still enough sunlight so we don't overload the other alternator. We are at 40, so, no, actually what, 30, so we're good.
Volaris 477, posterior a Jalil, prosigan a Peñal.
So to change our descent, so we got 5,000 in Monterrey, in Duxam. Another 10 minutes. So I'm gonna turn on the alternator back on. If it pops again, I'm just gonna leave it off there. Whoops, 100 feet down, so better get back up. So we're good on the
Bravo Juliet, llame aproximación 1975.
1975, Oscar Bravo Juliet. So before we call approach, I'm gonna get the ATIS.
Time coordinated. Arrival aircraft expect. ILFDME approach runway 20. Wind from 100 degrees, 16 knots. Visibility 12 miles. Non-significant clouds. Temperature 33. 2.06. QNH 29.86. Remark. All communications on 118.6. On initial contact advice you have, Mike. Aeropuerto Internacional del
So 1875. Okay. Monterrey approach, X-ray Bravo, Oscar Bravo, Julieta, in 8,000, information Mike.
Bravo Juliet, contact radar 8000 pies, 2982. El vector es localizador y el S2, pista 20.
Vector localizador 20, Oscar Bravo Juliet. Okay, I guess I understood that. He wants me to talk in Spanish, so I will do that. Okay, so the approach for Del Norte is the old ILS 220, so it's already select approach, ILS Duxam, load. So Curto, Cicro, Duxam, there we go. It's 107 and 1544 Del Norte VOR here. Okay, on VNAV 5100 and Duxam. So it's another 10 minutes before we start heading down. I guess if I was in a November entailed airplane, they probably would have talked to me in English all the time, but being a Mexican airplane,
160, Aeroméxico 940.
I tried. So it's getting a little bit bumpy here, but nothing major. How are we doing on temperatures? We're good. Alternator hasn't popped again. So they may have a loose wire somewhere, but I'll just keep an eye on it before we leave tomorrow, make sure everything's properly fastened. I'm not going to turn on the cockpit lights, not yet. I'm going to see, I'm going to try to push it as much as I can. So again, I was telling you, I started in aviation when I was a toddler. My dad was an ATC guy. When I was born, he was flying a Navajo, so that plane has a special place in my heart. Even though I fly it, I actually jumped with Roberto, a friend of mine, to fly the Navajo. I just don't feel comfortable in it. These on the 414s, on the Cessna twins, the engines are much more, wherever you leave them, they stay there. On the Navajos, they are all over the place. So I like automatic wastegates on the turbos. Navajos don't have that, so, I mean, well, it is what it is. And my goal in aviation, actually I got there, I mean, I just want to fly. I don't care if I'm flying a piston or a jet or whatever, as long as I get paid flying. So 121, I mean, I can do it, but I'm a family guy as well, so I'd rather stay at home most of the time, so 135 would be okay. But I'll see where life takes me, you never know. If I stay here in Mexico, if I move back to the States, if I go overseas, I don't know, I mean, I could. Let me just a little bit. Ulava. Let me see the master lights on again. Nothing on the alternator. Good. I'm gonna try to make it, see if it stays there. See, these RNAV arrival, I'm at 8,000, so I think it's 6,000 for ITPIS, which is the arrival. So again, this is mostly designed for jets. So anyway, star. So it's Akmurum 14 or above, Catpo, Mecna, Curto. So at Cicro, I need to be 6,500, which is way down the line. So I can just pretty much stay here for another 7 minutes. It's starting to get bumpy here. Big deal. Another 7 minutes, so it's PFD, clock time. Start. By the way, how's my milkshake doing? Good. It's not for me, it's for my wife. She loves Whataburger milkshakes, so. Getting her one. Sweaty hands. Oh, so 107. So I'm gonna put 207 for the ILS there. So nothing on the alternator yet, so I'm just gonna leave it there, hope nothing else happens. Again, on the load, I'm right now at 25H, so if it pops up, it should get to 50. So right now, a single alternator should hold the load, but if it goes, I'm just gonna shut cockpit lights off. I don't need them much. This thing brightens up plenty. And I got the iPad and the iPhone to lighten up the cockpit if that is needed. So, let's do our briefing for the approach, very important. Approach ILS DME 320. It's going to be the 21-3 chart from Del Norte International, ILS DME 3. 80s 2755, we already have information mic. 1975, tower is 18.6, we already set. Tower 18.6, elevation 1476, okay, ILS it's 1070, inbound course 207, Duxam 5100, AN 900, we should be at 3500 and go to minimums, which is 200 feet. In case we go missed, we just follow the nav, and it should take us to Clover 11,000 with a teardrop entry. Of course, given it's so high, I seriously doubt they give us all the way up to 11,000. They usually just vectors out of there. So, approach is briefed. So, before we go, our descent checklist, which should be in about 4 more minutes. So, 4 more minutes. So I'm just gonna PFD, reset. So again, temperatures on the fuel flow we're good, temperatures on the turbo we're good, cylinders seem okay, pressures, the fuel we're good. Again, I'm doing this without an autopilot because this thing is iffy. If I put it, it starts bubbling and it will go sideways and stuff. So it's like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. By the way, I've got single pilot IFR. It is demanding, but for some reason, I mean, I've just gotten used to it. Flying with the Hawker with Rolando, it feels much more easier when you have someone else too. But I try to keep the same discipline, the same routine, regardless if it's piston, if it's jet, and it helps out. So always stay ahead of the airplane. Try to do that. They probably teach you that on flight school anyway, but I don't care if it's you're flying a Cessna or you're flying a Hawker or a Falcon or whatever it is. Always do the things the same way so the transition between aircraft is as seamless as possible. Okay, so ACMUM, we should turn to
Monterrey, buen día, enlace 4120, en ascenso bajando 200 vía Grala 1 Alfa.
4120, buen día, contacto radar, haciendo para nivel 360, vía Grala 1 Alfa.
and 2 minutes for descent.
Grala 1 Alfa, enlace 4120.
Whoops, that descent I lost more altitude than I should have. Let's get back there. There we go. And flight plan, how long to the Norte? It's about 10 minutes. So we're getting ready to our descent time. So here's the thing with the Continentals, or at least this is what I do. The airplane is going to arrive at a certain time. If it's 10 minutes from now, I need to start taking power out of the engines 10 minutes from now. I don't care what the plane is doing. So you may be on vectors, you may be on cruise, doesn't matter. The engines have to start getting powered back. So since it's going to be 10 minutes, I'm going to start doing it. So I need my timer again. So clock timer, reset. VNAV, another minute. So I'm going to take an inch out of here. Just one. And give it 2 minutes. Catpo, so it's going to be a right turn to 2908, so 2908, 3, 2, 1, now.
Entonces 1138, prosigue directo a Mike Yankee 601, descienda para 7000 y está autorizado RNP pista 11.
Directo Mike Yankee 601, descenso 7000, autorizado RNP 11, 1178.
Monterrey, Oscar Bravo, Julieta, lista menor.
Oscar Bravo, Julieta, vía a la derecha, rumbo 295, descienda para 4000.
295 y 4000, Oscar Bravo, Julieta. So we're getting vectors now. So procedure, activate vectors, 1070, localizer, and we start heading down. That's a minute, so I'm just gonna start. So my descent checklist, it's fuel selectors, main and main. Okay, so get it back here, 2905. 2905, propeller synchronizers off, auxiliary fuel pumps are on, wing flaps are desired, landing gear pending. Mixtures, adjust, propellers, approach speed, and what's the last one? Air minimum control speed, yeah, red line, stay away from that. So we need to get down now. 142, almost close to the minute, so it's 2905, so I'm just gonna give it another inch. An inch. One of the advantages of this being pressurized is kind of like 1,000 feet per minute down and your ears won't complain at all. 227, so I gotta at least give it till 4. Whoops. That's what happened. So 255, I'm going to give it another inch. That's 1 minute. I give it a minute, preferably 2, but at least 1 minute between power changes, so I can get cooling it enough. Oh, so it's menu, map setup, map. So it's going to be, no, it's not here, it's aux. Aux level. There we go. Much better. How are we doing on the time? 3:35, still not close enough. So the alternator's not giving any more trouble, so it's definitely a loose wire. So it's 4 minutes, another inch. Ten-7, 10-7, ready for the ILS. Minutes.
Bravo Juliet, vida izquierda al rumbo 285 al localizador.
285 localizador, Oscar Bravo Juliet. 285 to the localizer, so we do that. Heading. Thousand feet to go. 527. So like I said, the engine arrives at 10 minutes, so I start to remove power at 10 minutes. What for? I'm about to level and I got the power already set for what I need. So once I level up, the speed should drop enough so we could put flaps and start messing the plane up before landing. That's the key on these, on the Continentals. Again, I know some of y'all do fly these things and I'm probably talking out of my rear end, but that's the technique I was taught, that's the way it works for me. So, if you use it, if it's good for you, take it. If not, well, let it be. Just about to level, so I'm gonna level out at 4,000. I'm gonna start adding props here to slow it down. .25. 4,000, so now we're below 177, which is our flap speed, so flaps 1. So flaps down, trim down, and the plane shouldn't bobble. But on these, I've noticed it's like one dot of flaps, it's like two thumbs forward, and it should make it. I'll just go ahead and be ready to throw full flaps. 2 285, and I got the field inside.
Bravo Juliet, vida izquierda, el rumbo 250, descienda a 3500, intercepta localizador, autorizado la aproximación.
3500, 250, autorizados ILS 20, Oscar Bravo Juliet. So 250, 3500 cleared for the ILS 20. So I'm going to add more props, slow us even further. Another inch out. About to intercept the localizer, 1 dot, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. 35, 1 dot. So as soon as my speed checks, I should be. This one, by the way, says landing gear, but it's off. It's a little bit higher than that, but I'm still going to wait for it. So here we go. Gear down. It's intercepting. 3 green, no red. Taxi light goes down. Before landing, we already did that, so it's mixtures, props, throttles, gear, lights, fuel pumps, main and main. We're good.
Bravo Juliet, el próximo equipo final, servicio radar terminado, contacte torre 118.6, buen día.
18.6, Oscar Bravo Juliet. 18.6.
Rey Alfa India Lima Oscar, active código 4474, el altímetro 29 decimal.
So I got 140, next to,
120 con 10.
There we go, 2 flaps, so 1,
y hacia
2.
termoeléctrica, de favor, tráfico Cessna 172 en carrera de despegue de la pista 20.
He enterado con el tráfico a la vista el India Lima Oscar y volaremos hacia termoeléctrica.
Torre del Norte, extra Bravo, Oscar Bravo Julieta, localizador 20.
Oscar Bravo Julieta, buenas noches, pista 20, altímetro 29 decimal 88. El viento es cruzado 100 con 10, está autorizado para aterrizar.
2988, autorizado a aterrizar, pista 20, Oscar Bravo Juliet. 2988, cleared to land, runway 20, Oscar Bravo Juliet. So we got a hefty crosswind from the right, normal in this airport. Winds are always for the 1129, but that's a BFR only runway, and it's also lined up to, this is a reliever airport, the other one is the Mariano Escobedo, Mike Yankee. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's stereo cockpit, focus on what we have to do right now. So, gas, mixtures, seatbelts, flaps. What distance? We are 2 miles. Yeah, why not? The wind changed here, so I'm just gonna correct it. Full flaps now. 1, 2. Keep it going now. Whoa. Okay, so 105, we're good. I'm going to give it just a little bit more power. Just a bit. Just to stay above the blue line.
Oscar Bravo Julieta, continúe por el corredor, si posible no mayor a 2000 pies, el tráfico en salida de instrumentos, dejando 2300 por 5000 pies.
Confirma Bravo Julieta, estamos para aterrizar.
Desatienda Oscar Bravo Julieta, de Rey Alfa India Lima Oscar, le confirmo el tráfico Cessna 172, rumbo de pista 3 millas, dejando 2500 por 5000. Si posible no mantenga menor de 2000 pies.
Enterados, mantendremos a 2000 pies el India Lima Oscar y es correcto, sí, seguimos a termo o podemos volar ya al destino.
Directo al destino por debajo de 2000 pies, de favor, y pendiente 5 fuera.
Enterado, pendiente 5 fuera y...
ATC there called us for another airplane that was on a VFR.
Julieta por eco la plataforma, buen día.
Eco plataforma, Bravo Julieta. He confused us. He called us on short finals, like, what? But anyway, situation averted, so. We land. I'm gonna shut these.
Back on cockpit audio. Speaking of, here's Lima Lima. So, parking reset. Next lights go off. Shut this up. It's hot in here. Again, give it a minute to shut it off. I'm gonna shut it off now. 20, 30. Give it one more minute. Seconds. Gets it thumbs off. So that was it. So temperatures, I just give it 3 minutes after landing, 30 more seconds. Temperatures are good, cow flaps are open, flaps not to do this after landing, but that's low. Fuel pumps, cow flaps, and flaps, so we're good. This one doesn't have a speed brake, Lima Lima does, which makes life easier. But 30 seconds. Magnetos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care then. Bye bye then.